Hello and welcome to Marching Out, a YouTube channel created to help grow people, grow understanding of religion, and even help people march out. Where did I come from? Why am I making this YouTube channel? Well, a few years ago, I was listening to debates between Frank Turek and Christopher Hitchens, and as I was going over those debates, I started to get suggestions about other YouTube channels. And as I was gaining those YouTube channels and going over some of the videos, I ran into one specific YouTuber who changed my life. And so I'm going to go through every single one of those YouTubers and talk a little bit about them. And then afterwards, I'm going to move forward on telling you where this channel is going and what am I hoping to do with it. A lot of it is just to express what I've been feeling and what I want to talk about, but as well as get feedback from others. So I've learned a lot for the past 2 months, 2 months, yep, a lot last 2 months about much of what I truly believe, why I believe it, and the delusion that I was in, which is known as Christianity. So, before I move forward, I will say I was definitely a staunch Christian. I could defend my faith. I could tell you why I believe what I believe. I believed in Jesus Christ. I believed that he died and rose 3 days later to save us from our sins. I believed in the old stories of the Old Testament about the flood, creation. I was a young Earth creationist myself, though I don't know 100% if I truly believed it. And a lot of my life has been a struggle. There's much that went on in my life, and I kind of held on to God as life progressed, and I just couldn't ever see myself without God. However, as I was seeing more and more Christians stand up against the LGBTQ, that's when I started to gain a problem with Christians in general. I also started to look at the practices of Christians, and I'll go over those practices in another YouTube video, but this is just a start. And I want to really talk about the people who brought me to where I am now. So, further ado, let me introduce you to the first one, which is Alex O'Connor. So, Alex O'Connor, actually, I first learned him from Generally Modified Skeptic. He was one of the first that I started to listen to. But, sorry, Alex. But Alex O'Connor is, from what I can tell, an atheist who kind of goes into the philosophical, sorry, can't speak, philosophical form of understanding. He is an atheist. He did come from Christianity as well. As a matter of fact, most of these except one person came from Christianity, which says a lot. So I hold the same views with Alex in that Alex and I both try to look for the truth. And as much as we prayed, worshipped, went to Bible school, all this other stuff, we just couldn't find the answers we were looking for. And eventually we found answers in other places. So the next one is Genetically Modified Skeptic. He is one of my favorites. His very mellow voice is very soothing to listen to. But the thing he extrapolates on the most is the science, and he does a lot of. Uh, Actually, I think most of these people do just talk, create a rebut for Christianity, because there's a lot of Christians, especially apologetics like Frank Turek, who say a lot of things but don't hold a lot of truth to it, especially if you look into it. And that's something we all have to do as we move forward in finding truth is if we're going to say something is true, we need to back it up with the facts. And unfortunately, I've learned Frank Turek does not do this. So, one reason I will give a caution to Frank Turek. Um, anyway, moving forward, Dare to be Curious, Holy Kool-Aid. So this is the guy. So I started with Genetically Modified Skeptic, went to Alex Connor, but eventually it was Holy Kool-Aid that destroyed my faith. Thank you, Holy Kool-Aid. Because this guy created a video about the Bible being the worst history book. And it's astonishing how we believed so highly on the Old Testament being true to take it as fact when we looked at it, and I looked at it over and over again. Like, I've been through Bible studies over the Old Testament over and over and over again. I could tell you a lot about the Old Testament, but I never ever thought it would be false. That's something that never occurred to me. So the one thing that changed my perception of history is when he suggested that Egypt did not have any record of uh, a mass amount. And I'm saying a mass amount. We can't get it confused because there were probably Hebrews in Egypt during the time of Moses, which I think was between the 15th and the 14th BC century. Fact check me on that. But the fact that Egypt has no record of entire civilization over 600,000 people is very daunting. And as I looked into history, I looked more into that era, and I found that most, if not all, of the stories of the Bible are probably they were probably true stories, but it was probably a small fish compared to the giant fish, a whale, you could say, of a story that the Bible was concocting. So, thanks to Holy Kool-Aid for changing my life. And so I want to talk about Life Church quick. Life Church was the reason why I continued to be a Christian. I don't know why it's the fourth slide, but that's fine because I listened to him a lot and he changed a lot of my views. And so the continuing of this YouTube channel will also contain a lot of truths that are found in Christianity that I want to bring out of Christianity and put into the actual world. Just because you're a Christian doesn't mean you can't be a good person. And before anybody says, of course you can be a good person, you have morals if you're not a Christian. Yes, I agree with you. That's not the argument I'm making. The argument I'm making is a lot of people tend not to want to follow Christian behavior because it's Christian. It has a bad taste. So before you throw the baby out with the bathwater, make sure to save the baby. Prophet of Zod. I think he is the final one. Oh, actually, the Antibot I will talk about first. Yes, the Antibot I'll talk about first. She is actually married to genetically modified Skeptic. But before I get to the Prophet of Zod, I want to move to Theramentes. I'm sorry if I said that wrong, but Theramentes also had a huge impact in my conversion to or out of Christianity, because Theramentes started to teach me about the manipulation of Christianity and how a lot of things may seem like it is correct, but not always. And he is actually the only one who did not come from Christianity, but came from Islam. Um, and there's so much abuse and manipulation in religion that it's, and which I'm going to talk about in future videos as well. I'm just starting out, so I have so many things planned. I don't know where I'm going to go first, but moving forward, yes, I want to talk about the atrocities of religion and why it kills humanity slowly. So, back to the Prophet of Zod. Prophet of Zod is one of my favorite people in the entire world. Um, when I first started listening to him, I'm like, what is this? What am I looking at? It was just randomly appeared. But as I listen to his videos, he makes a lot of sense, and he makes a lot of videos against Christians who are just spouting nonsense. Specifically, I like his videos against Lee Strobel. Lee Strobel, I took a long look into, and he was one of the people I had used to strengthen my faith, but now he is one of the people that I use to denounce my faith because of his antics. He tends to prop himself up as somebody who used to be an atheist and became Christian. And actually, before I leave, I do want to talk about that because that's a huge thing that I hear a lot of is like, oh, atheist became a Christian, a stomped atheist became a Christian. And the question I have for those kind of people is why? Why did you do that? What was your reasoning? And I have a feeling it's a shallow reason. Just as the Christians say there are shallow reasons to become atheist. So for all the people I just mentioned, they were not like they weren't shallow at all with their responses, and I think that's one reason I fully enjoy listening to them, is because they weren't Christians looking to get out of Christianity because they wanted to do whatever they wanted to do. They just couldn't find evidence enough to support their belief. And to be honest, at first, I thought I had all the evidence until new evidence was given, and I was like, this is starting to be a very delusional story that I'm starting to now see the cracks. And as I look forward and look more into these people and listening to their stories and also listening to Christians, I'm finding the weak arguments are now in the Christians' favor, not favor, in their court. So I stand on the other side. I look back and I notice one thing out of all of them is, out of all the information I know about Christianity, is it just doesn't hold up. it looks like a weirdly built house, as if it was first a trailer, then another rendition was added, another rendition, another rendition, and then it looks just like a mess. And just as much as atheists don't know, they don't know what's if there's a creator, I still believe there's a creator. I don't fully believe in evolution. I don't 100% believe in science. Just because science tends to be constantly changing to figure out the truth. I could create an analogy for it, but I won't. You'll just have to learn yourself. But I don't put a lot of faith or a lot of weight, not faith, weight into evolution. But a lot of what I've learned from evolution does sound correct. But again, I just don't fully trust it. I do, however, see the world around me and wonder, there has to be a God, right? There has to be. I could be totally wrong, but I just 100% don't agree with the Bible. I feel like the Bible doesn't hold up to history, and I just gave one example. I can give you plenty of more examples later on if people want examples, but overall, I just don't have the faith to believe in it. And so, thank you to all the YouTubers out there, and I hope continuing forward that this new YouTube channel will be something great. Um, I'm personally trying to put a lot of time into this because one thing that I unfortunately don't have is people who want to talk about it. I feel like that's a very shallow thing when Christians don't want to talk about their faith, knowing that their faith may be collapsed. It's like they're trying to hold on to glass, hoping it won't break. If somebody comes along and with a hammer of truth and they're like, yeah, we could talk about it, but only if it's about glass. Otherwise, I don't want you to, you know, try to hit it with your hammer to see if it breaks. It's like, but then why? Why won't you allow it to be shattered for the sake of truth? Or is it that you just want to continue living in a delusion? So, and don't get me wrong, I want Christianity to be true to some degree. I say some degree because I don't like the fact that something as loving and caring as a same-sex marriage or relationship can be a sin. I also don't condone slavery like the Bible does, or don't condone mutilation of the genitals. So there's a lot of things I don't condone. Um, but the love and the truth and the acceptance and the forgiveness that the Bible does condone is something I feel like humanity could fully benefit from. And so if we could learn from other religions some things that could push humanity forward without the restraint of religion, I think that would be a beautiful thing. And that is my mission, to incorporate the truth in everyday life. Thank you for watching, and I hope to get plenty of people to share my knowledge and information with them. I don't ever want to change your mind, but only to help you to see the truth. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.